League goal goes to a familiar face. Bessart, Borussia. It's Connor Kane on the left. Alessandro Diamante, the ball on a string. And Diamante! The Western Service crew are celebrating.
The Western Service crew is celebrating. And welcome back to another big episode of All Out West. This week, you are joined by myself, Kelsey, and Jay. How's it going, guys?
Good, thanks, mate.
Look, I'm doing better than Western United were on the weekend.
Oh, they had a good innings. The weather was nice. Do you know probably the best thing to happen to us this weekend was the City having 2 injuries during the week?
Ooh, not bad at all. Also, City following in our footsteps with the same halftime scoreline going into their game this weekend, but I'm sure we'll get into that at some point.
Definitely. Now, my first talking. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about before we get into it?
Let's rip this Band-Aid of the weekend off.
Okay, let's get into the old club update. Now, in the lead up to the Ballarat game, the commentator confirmed that Western United will be playing out of the 5K training facility, aka the mini stadium, when it's completed in 12 to 18 months. And he did confirm that the timeline for the main stadium was hoped to be completed in 3 years. This was from the Western Melbourne Group chairman, Jason Sarasis. I always space on the pronunciation. But, Kelsey, what are your thoughts on, the training facility? And then we'll get into the stadium after that.
Look, for the training facility, I think it makes sense. At least we'll be playing from one ground predominantly week in, week out, which I think will help a lot of the fan base, given a lot of us are based in Tarneit. I think it will help. It should keep crowd numbers consistent and more up. Hopefully it'll drive some more interest in the local area. I believe we're still doing the one game with Ballarat for the foreseeable future. So, we'll still get one game up there. But I think it makes sense while we're waiting for the stadium to get ticked off. Obviously, you need a lot more approval, and that obviously takes a lot more time to build a stadium of that size.
Jay, thoughts?
I did have one quick question, though. The training facility, how many does that hold?
5K.
Capacity? 5K. Well, I'm pro playing home games there, as long as, it's not derbies or anything, not any big games, because obviously you can't have a 5K capacity for Western United versus Victory. So obviously those games should still be played at Amy Park. I actually wouldn't mind seeing another Western versus Victory game at Etihad. We haven't had one this season, so I kind of miss that, even though they are our away games. But also do kind of miss playing out in Geelong as well. Great, we haven't. It feels like so long since we played out there. We've been going to Amy Park a lot more, which I don't mind Amy Park, but I kind of do miss playing out in Geelong. And until we have a decent sized stadium of our own, I still think we will play games, sort of here, there, and everywhere, especially the bigger ones in Melbourne.
Maybe we do the big Victory games and whatnot at GMHBA.
Yeah, Victory used to play a game a season at the very least out at GMHBA as well. So they're used to getting numbers out that way. Back to, I sort of stumbled on there for a bit. Back to the training facility, 5K, that's going to be enough for playing a Perth Glory or a Central Coast or Newcastle, teams where you're not getting big turnouts for away fans. 5K would be great, especially in the Tarneit area. You'd think you'd get close to that each game. You'd be hoping for sure, especially once it newly opens up. So it'd be nice to see some packed-in crowds, which I think we're sort of in the need of, especially because we're so sort of thinly spread at times, playing games around the West. Yeah, I think it'd be nice to get some consistency, play a few games in one spot.
I think it'll really help with. Sorry to cut you off. I think it'll also really help with a lot of the fan base. From my understanding, is very Werribee Tarneit inner western suburbs based, as opposed to the more regional. Like and not to negate those people in the regional areas. I'm glad they're interested and whatnot, but I believe a lot of us are living in the heartland, if you will, of the West. We are in Tarneet. We are in the Werribee, the Hoppers, the Thornhill Parks, the Meltons. There's a lot of people out this way. Shout out, Kelsey. What's the postcode of Thornhill Park, Kelsey?
335.
We getting that tattooed?
Nah.
Oh,
the
forehead,
3030. My hometown will always be the 3030.
30. Had to do it.
Got to represent.
I'm Birdie born and raised. Can't take me out. You know, I can leave that place, but it's still in my heart.
Yeah, so I think it'd be beneficial for the fan base to play more games out here and build that local fan base and the people that want to travel, but also supplement that with the Ballarat games, which we're going to talk more about shortly, and the Geelong games to keep those people interested and involved.
Also worth mentioning, if you look at I'd say like a lot of our fans, we still have a lot of fans from out Geelong way, but they are no stranger to travelling as far as Melbourne for a game, jumping on the train for 90 minutes at the very least to make it to a Melbourne game, especially because of the Cats, you know, they're used to it. So I still don't think, you know, what is it, a 40-minute train ride from the middle of Geelong into Tarneet. You know, we do that every week. I do that every week, no problem. The other way, we did for a while. So I honestly don't think we're going to lose that much support from Geelong for sure. I still think we've got good support out Ballarat way, but after 3 weeks in a row, that support's definitely starting to wane. Obviously, there's a few people there sort of to get around that support, but I think ultimately we don't want to exclude those people, but we've got to focus on where the club's going to be based. It's going to be based in Tarneet.
Well, the point I was going to make to add to that, and actually sort of touched on it there, was I think we do still need those, like, you know, Geelong games or the Ballarat games for the bigger crowds where we can have the big, but space them out a bit more evenly so it's not too many in a row. You know, like, you know, you don't want to be going up to one of them 3 weeks in a row if you can, you know, space them out evenly or consistently across the season is the point I'm trying to make. Yeah.
It doesn't help that we're going into the AFL season as well, because now none of the footy grounds are going to be open to us. Obviously, no Marvel Stadium, no GMHBA, you know, no chance we're getting Whitten Oval again. So it's given us a real shortage of grounds. I only wish Moorshead Park was half an hour from Werribee or closer, because that was fun, but can't do it every week.
I was going to say, have you tried living in Thornhill Park? It's a nice 40-minute drive.
Well, I'll take 40 minutes over an hour and a half.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's only 10, 15 minutes to where the stadium will be in Tarneet. It's a good, happy location. And 40 minutes to Geelong as well.
Are you getting a commission on new house builds there or something, mate?
I wish. Actually, I'll tell you who is. Andrew Walsh, the former Essendon player, is getting all the commissions. He's the land developer.
Shout out my Bombers bros. Yeah.
I thought you'd like that.
He's got the connection with Chris, former Essendon boy himself.
True.
A lot going on out there.
Were you guys a little bit worried when the Bombers coach went down the other day with COVID, since we trained at that facility?
Nah,
not really.
We from what I've seen, I think they train at separate times. Like one group go in after the other, because you sometimes see them bumping into each other. So maybe they sort of know each other, but like it's probably a big enough facility. Like if you've ever seen the hangar, it's pretty big. I'd say it's big enough to be able to separate both teams and be able to isolate players.
Given our entire squad essentially went down at the end of the year, and, you know, didn't seem to affect the Bombers pre-season training in January, for example, when we all had it, I think they've managed to find a way to separate them.
Bombers might need that excuse this season, because we're not a great thus far. But now let's move on to the stadium conversation. The additional hopeful 3-year timeline. Who would like to go first on that one? Kelsey, would you like that?
Look, I'm hopeful it'll be 3 years, but really it's all relative until we get the contract signed.
Yeah.
Until the engineering report's done, until everything's signed off. You got to think it's going to be at least 24 months from the day of that contract signature, or turning of dirt, essentially.
I'll believe it when I'm looking at it. The stadium, not the contract.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. You got to.
Yeah, I can understand COVID is throwing a spanner in the works. The stadium was supposed to be built this year, but no one could have predicted what would have happened at the arse end of 2019. But sort of broken record. It's like, oh, we're turning dirt. You know, something's been signed, and then we don't hear anything for 4 months. So it's like, I'm not over it. Like, I'm obviously still optimistic that we'll be getting the stadium, but it's like, when is not something I'm even worried about, because it's like, if we're not moving forward with construction now, then it could happen anytime. As soon as they break ground, start building stuff up, then I'll be like, all right, cool. You know, we're onto something here. I'll believe it when I see construction starting, when I start seeing towers go up and grandstands get built. That's when I'll be like, all right, we're on here. But I don't hold any hope for the immediate future that we'll get the stadium. And 2025, I think, is optimistic.
I think it was a bit of an oversell saying eventually that it'd be going in the second year in the comp or whatever. And that's been, I think, very created such negativity around the club in the broader soccer football community. And I think that is very deflating at times, especially for us fans, because we just want to see it do well. I've always had the attitude that if everyone's prospering, it's good. Like, it's good for everyone if everyone's getting making money, kind of thing. And it's that, yeah. So it's a bit shit, but hopefully it happens. I'm confident it will, because the whole reason the club exists is to make this happen. They want that to happen. That is the end goal. That is how they're going to be viable. That is how their business plan inherently is to make money off having residential areas set up around the stadium, having multi-purpose, multi-use facilities along with the council code.
Well, you just touched right there, the council. The council need this to happen because they've essentially given them the parcel of land. They need to get the return on the investment anyway. So it will happen. It's just all relative as to when it will happen.
Yeah.
It has to happen. Otherwise, I think it goes against the sort of community that the club is actually trying to build up. So the club would be shooting themselves in the foot if it didn't happen. And it
would also go against the integrity of the bid.
Yeah, that's what I agree on that. But the bid's the bid. It's what you do with it that really matters, you know. And it's about positivity. It's about building up football in the West. And if they fail to do that, then it's really a kick in the guts to all the supporters. That being said, I think they're trying. I think they're just jumping through hoops, and they've made it a little hard on themselves. But from what I've seen from the club in many other aspects, you know, the amount they do for their fans, the players they've signed, the objectives they set, because obviously we're playing this weekend aside, we're playing for success on the pitch a lot of the times. We've gone out, we've made big signings, signing players like Diamante in our first season, still making signings domestically like Young, and internationally like Previc. We're not here to take part, we're here to take over, sort of sense. At times you get from Western, but then there's also these periods where it feels like there's a lull in excitement around the club, you know, just because of we don't have a home to play in. And I feel like the first couple of seasons it wasn't too bad, but after post-COVID, especially the season starting later, so it's harder for us to secure consistent home games in one stadium. For me, I know I can speak for other people as well, but especially for myself, I think it's getting harder and harder to travel. And I'm going to Tasmania. I'm going to enjoy it. I still will travel for the club, but, you know, I'm a hardcore fan and it's getting harder to travel. So how must the average fan with the family feel? It's getting more and more difficult.
Exactly. So I think that business move, getting into that training facility as soon as possible, which with that 18-month timeline is like, what, end of next year?
Yeah, you got to.
I
really
said 12 to
push it.
18, but I always go to the latter end of an estimate. It just saves you hassle.
And be realistic, probably call it the end of next season just to be fully safe.
Yeah. And that's just going off us estimating on the estimate. But yeah.
You just don't know what's around the corner.
But yeah, let's put a little pin in that there, guys. We've talked a lot about stadiums, and it is a hot topic for us as fans and in the greater community. But we've got to keep positive, keep supporting the team because they are performing well. We've been in the chase for the Premier's Plate for 2 months now. How many Wednesday night games were we neck and neck with Melbourne City? And we're currently 8 points behind. They have, I think, 1 or 2 more games left of the season. We've got 5. Yes, it's away, but this is possible. And let's move on to another positive story. Western United signed up with, I think it's state government and local government in Ballarat to do a junior girls competition, the Western United Cup, out at Moorshead. What do you guys think of that? That's a pretty cool community engagement thing, specifically targeting an underrepresented part of our population in football.
Well, again, it goes to the commitment they've made to women's football. It's showing the investment they want to make within the women's game, and I think it's an excellent thing to start up.
Like I said, in the CNS segment before, the club's made a lot of promises. Some of them have been harder to stick to than others, but they have stuck to and gone above and beyond, I believe, for their commitment to women's football. We've got the team coming next season, which is pretty much bang on when we're expecting it. Now we've got these sort of tournaments popping up. We've already got Calder, that we're sponsoring, and we've done a lot for them. Even just seeing the support for Calder from the Western United fans in their Nike Cup final was fun. That's not something I expected to see happen so far. So can only be good. It's another step in the right direction at grassroots. So it can only be a good thing.
100%. Did you guys want to move on to the game review?
Sure.
I guess, yeah.
Because there's no injury updates or anything like.
No, look, I for one am really going to hate to do this. See what I did there, but let's get into it.
I do have a quick injury update from a rumor I heard floating around at Moorshead. Looks like we'll get Risdon back for finals at the very worst case scenario.
Okay.
I think they said he's been, from what I've heard, he's been sort of struggling at times, obviously with injury. We all know that. But he's keen to get back into it from what I've heard.
Sick.
So hopefully he's back. Like I've heard worst case scenario, round 1 finals. So I wouldn't surprise me if he plays as early as one of our away games. That would not surprise me. But that being said, get well, Joshy. Get fit.
Yeah.
Because, he's been just blistering when he's been able to stay healthy. So we want to see him back ASAP.
So crucial for our lineup. Kelsey, did you want to do the game review?
Yeah, I'll get into it. So on Saturday, April 9, West United took on Wellington Phoenix, and the kicker here was it was at Moorshead Park, which we covered extensively last week. It was nice to be in a rectangular stadium. This wasn't the first time Woo had laced up there, and in contrast to Mars, we have a terrible win-loss ratio, but the sun was shining for a 2:05 p.m. kickoff. The two sides have some history, and I think this adds to our games. Prior, we've had 7 games for 1 win, the very first win, 1 draw, and a whopping 5 losses. From early on, West United ran forward well with a decent press and by the end of the game dominated possession. But finishing and missed opportunities really reared its ugly head in this game with 19 shots and only 6 on target. There seems to be a bit of a history here with us having shots and missing against Wellington, just FYI, with Ollie Sale sitting quite comfortably between the posts. There were some great runs from Wales and Payne, with the former having a really nice shot on goal, just clearing the bar 4 minutes in. What was the vibe like early on, say, Jay being there?
Well, it wasn't the most packed out crowd we had. Obviously, Grand Prix was in town. I know a fair few people couldn't make it. It's a very busy sporting weekend, but for those that did get down there, they were in for a treat. You could reach out and touch the players It was like a very, very intimate sort of oval. It felt like you were watching like a grassroots football game, but it had all the talent of an A-League game. So that was weird to watch it from that sort of position. It felt like, you could essentially just hop the fence and be sitting on the bench. It was weird, just being that close to a professional game. That being said, like start of the game, we pepped the goals. I didn't see much down from our end because we just were pushing down their way. But, I thought we were in cruise control. I thought we were just going to continue on with Wellington's domination that they copped for the last couple of weeks. Copped a 6-0 thump in the City, 5-0 to Mariners. You'd think it's probably going to happen again, but wasn't to be.
Just quickly, because you were there, do you prefer Moorehead or do you think Mars is the better Ballarat stadium to be at?
I'm going to have to go Moorehead. It's a rectangular ground. I do like Mars. I think it'd be a great game. It's still a good ground, but it's also you're a very long way away from the players, whereas Moorehead is you're right in close. I think Mars is. I think if you're a footy fan and you want to get down to an AFL game at Mars Stadium, go for it. It's still a great ground, but for the A-League, for playing games out in Ballarat, I definitely prefer Moorehead, especially if we're only playing 1 or 2 a season there. I think we could really pack it out and get a couple of those hills filled and it'll look good. But, after playing for a few weeks in Ballarat, it just seems like, it's rough getting down after a while.
Do you want to talk about Ballarat on that note? We've played 3 games in 6 weeks there. We had a total attendance of 5,520 people, with the first game being the peak of 2,674 and the preceding 2 games having an attendance of 1,423, which is that's a pretty intense coincidence. Do you guys think... for me personally, I went to 2 of the Ballarat games and I look forward to it. I have family out that way, but I think having them so close together and as the colder weather breaks in, for me with a young family, which I typically do Ballarat as a family trip, I find it a bit harder to do. And on that note of the stadiums, Mars is a little bit better for children, young children. I've got a 4-month-old, stuff like that. I found it a little bit difficult this time. That's just a little. I just want to start it off there. What do you guys think?
Look, well, I attended 2 out of 3. I think Jay also attended 2. I think between us, we all attended 2 out of the 3 games.
Yeah.
I do want to point out that specifically last week, Wallace, you said the cold was not an issue in Ballarat. Bit contradictory there, buddy. Just to recap, but I agree with you. I don't know. It's just hard to do the 3 trips so close together. Personally, I also happen to have had plans because the fixture was moved a couple of times, I believe, the time slot that. So it made it hard for me. That's why I couldn't attend this specific game. But I don't know. I just found it a bit of a grind to do all 3, or to be there for all 3 personally. For whatever reason it may be, I just couldn't do all 3.
Yeah, it's challenging for the fans a bit further away to get down there. It's an hour and a half drive for me. And I'm only from Werribee. I'm sort of centralised, so you'd think it'd be a bit better. But I don't mind doing the trip to Ballarat even twice a season. But I think it has to have been to coincide with the late start of the late start of our season and the start of the footy season being on time because there's just I don't think there's anywhere else for us to play, so we sort of got forced into playing at Ballarat. Just still like to keep going there, Mars or Moorehead. I prefer Moorehead, but either, not fast. Just maybe have one in the first 5 rounds, one in the last 5 rounds, something like that, and a preseason game there. I think that's.
Yeah. Well, look, if they had to have 3 there, I'd be happy if they were spaced a minimum of 5 to 6 weeks apart. Just to have that gap between them, so it's more of a adventure going there rather than a grind going up the highway.
Yeah. Not to mention, can I just jump in? The public transport's very hard as well, getting to, especially Mars, from my understanding. I think that really limits, like, you got to have designated drivers and a number of people, and specifically active support, like to get on the beers. Not sure if you knew that, Jay.
Well, if you think about it, even with the train, you got to go to Sunshine and change. So you got to go all the way in, especially if you're one from Geelong who wants to have a few beers. That's a long train trip.
Yeah.
Like
So
I drive down to almost every game that's there. Like, I think I've been once where I copped a lift in from someone, but like for me, it's just like by the time you get up there, have a couple of beers, it's time to go home anyway. So like it's you're traveling 3 hours for a 90-minute game. It's almost not worth it, which is probably why the active does tend to be a little more tame when we get up there, just because we're tired. It's a fair bit of travel. So,
and you can't drink and drive too, so you don't get that social lubricant, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll get up there, I'll grab a beer at the start of the game, and then that'll be it for me because obviously got to drive home in 90 minutes. So, and I am fully licensed as well. But yeah, it's just, a lot of people work. They've still got school for, we work 40 hours a week. So to spend, it's a good 5 hours out of your weekend. It's a good chunk on a time of the week and where a lot of people are relaxing, So, yeah, a lot of factors play into Ballarat. There's a lot of things you can point a finger at for it being a hard ground to get to, but yeah.
We'll go back into the game, I guess. But so 28 minutes in, again, positioning has been an issue with Wooten completely left unmarked in the box as he beautifully put us to the sword, with Amai likely the closest defender to him. So again, we've spoken about it, another switch off inside the box. Moments later on the break, Sotirio increased the lead to 2 with Young getting a finger on it. And then 45 minutes in, Garuccio gives Wellington a penalty, which they oblige with generosity. What were your thoughts on the goals?
First goal, complete switch off at the back. I had a perfect view. I was right on the corner, and I could see it went literally through, like 2 Knicks players missed it, and the third one got it in. We were nowhere near that corner. It was abysmal defending. We were half asleep during that corner because it's like they had 3 chances in the space of a second. 2 missed headers. The other one was a tap in at the far post. So it's everyone's got to wake up there. Tomoki, Garuccio, Nikolai, Leo. They were all asleep there for that one. The second goal, they just let Sotirio run. Should never have been one-on-one with the keeper. Don't quote me on this, but I think it did deflect off one of our defenders' legs as well. And
I think in the coming of play, not
because Young still got a fingertip to it, but had our defender not intervened, I think it would have been saved. So a bit of bad luck there. And then the penalty, soft one, but it's there. I don't know if there was no VAR for that game. I don't, because they never went to it once.
I'm assuming that there wasn't due to the setup. I'm assuming they couldn't get the correct setup to have VAR there.
Which is a bit suspect, but whatever.
Probably a trade-off for playing at Moorshead.
Yeah, I'd assume so. It's a silly penalty, but if it's there, it's there. I didn't think there was much in it, but if it was my team on the receiving end, if I was a Wellington fan, I would have been screaming for it. So, is what it is. Yeah, really not a great start to that game. That whole first half was one I'd rather forget.
Do you know what my highlight of that first half was, Kelsey and Jay?
What was that?
That was just after that first goal Wellington scored, as Jay shouting, "It'll be all right, guys, bounce back."
No, that was actually this. I think that was the second goal.
It's what I know in the highlight video. It's 10 out of 10.
After the first goal, you hear me yell, "Wake the fuck up!" I think just, but it's like You can clearly hear me go, it's all right, boys. It's all right, you know, don't worry about it. On the highlight video. So that was
it's gold.
I didn't realize how close I was to the boom mics because you were like, I could have reached over and touched the back of the net. We were that close to the ground. So probably did pick up a few choice words on the field mics over the course of that game. It's not one I'd go back and watch.
Dude,
So
if that had been rated, that would not have been good on free to air. That would have been terrible. You heard Wales swear. You heard. I enjoy that because it gives you that game day atmosphere. It reminds me of when Rudan was coaching and he'd just be calling old Curto a C-bomb. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's Western United for me, is hearing people get sworn at. But
it's the Western Suburbs culture.
I did walk past the both benches at one point just to sort of see, because there's never going to be a chance you get that close to the benches in the A-League again. And damn, they dropped some serious F-bombs for those boys. Both the coaches and assistant coaches from both teams were going ham. Ufi was, he's got fucking his name, but Jesus, he doesn't really have to use it that much. He really went ham. But it was also fun to see, it's like, something you don't really get an insight on. So, yeah. That was another good bit about Moorshead Park.
Yeah.
Just so being able to see how things operate. Sorry.
No, all good. Glad you didn't. Amaya would be subbed for Dylan Wenzel-Halls. Wallace, what did you think of this substitution here?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was great subbing. Amaya, obviously, in my opinion, in that set piece was at fault. I had a group chat with another fan who sent me photos of him out of position and not guarding that dude because Topper Stanley was on the two guys in front of Jamie Young. Shout out Ghazi. But yeah, I think Dylan Wenzel-Hall really come in and lit a spark up in the group, to be honest. I think he's an exciting player, and I think we need to give him more game time.
Any thoughts on the substitution, Jay?
Jeez, he really needs to grab a goal, though, doesn't he? As much as I love Dylan, it's like... but that was very start of the season. He's hit a bit of a dry spell. He needs to bounce back. I think he can do it, but he's got to get to firing, I reckon.
But he doesn't, for the game time he's had pretty good.
Oh, no, he's been subbed on a few times,
Yeah, but he's always been a sub. I'll bring up how many minutes he's played. Just you guys keep talking. I'll bring up his minutes.
Yeah, then we'll go goals per minute ratio. But yeah, I think
he's played 683 minutes.
For 2 goals.
2.
That's a goal.
So it's 1 every 300 minutes.
Yeah, that's a goal every 3.5.
So it's every games. 3 and a bit games.
Yeah, so that's really not great.
But they're predominantly not starts though.
Doesn't matter. Then he should be fresher. He's fast. That means he should be scoring. You sub on goals.
To be honest, Jamie Young doesn't have enough goals.
Well, do you have the comparison for say Price's average? Because dare say his would be worse than
yeah, it is 988. He's had 988 minutes this season for 1 goal.
But he's not an
out-and-out striker as
well. He's more of a winger. He's been moved into that role. We've got an out-and-out winger / striker in Wenzel.
Well, Dylan Wenzel is a striker / forward.
Yeah.
He's sort of been thrown wing and forward. He's sort of mixed his time there.
Lockie Wales hasn't scored a goal either all season, but if you look at the
his assists, though,
5 assists. He's a crucial part in a lot of our goals. He's because he draws players, he makes great runs. So it's why he's still in the squad. But Wenzel-Halls doesn't get starts because he needs to earn them, I think, especially with Perovic in the squad now.
Here's a quick one. Who's our 3rd highest goal scorer this season?
Now,
Perovic.
It's probably still...
is it Wenzel-Halls?
It's going to be Wenzel-Halls, isn't it? No, Lustica. No, Lustica's 1, isn't he?
No, he's number 2.
He's 2.
Yeah.
Leo. It is.
With 3 goals.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. So Payne had 2, Wenzel-Halls had 2, yeah.
Bayou's got one. Don't forget that. Yeah. How much less game time does he have? No, I don't mean to be shitting on Dylan. It's just like...
no, but we're discussing it. We're not meaning it in a negative light.
Yeah. Like, obviously, I want to see him do well. Like, we did the interview with him, and he's, like, one of the nicest dudes. He's always got time for a chat. But, like, ultimately, it still is a football club, and... you got to sort of think of them as your employees, not employees, but they're
paying their wages, Jay.
We are, bro. We are with our membership money. There's no fans. I don't think they're breaking even. We all know that. If there's no fans, there's no club.
All right, time to move on,
want to play in front of an empty stadium. But
let's get into the next point. So, in some positive news, with Sticker opened the scoring for us. With I have a note here with Dylan Wenzel Hall's impact immediately felt. Thoughts, guys?
Hey, we should bring Dylan Wenzel Halls on earlier. No. I think it was a good goal, well finished from Lustica. But we were peppering the goals. One of them had to go in.
Yeah. I as someone who wrote the run sheet, I can't add more to this.
Believe it or not, Dylan Wenzel Hall's played one of his better games this weekend. It's just we got nothing from it, and we needed to get things from it because it's like he can play as well as he wants. It's like, man, you're a striker, you got to score goals. But that's also the same for Previc. He didn't give us as much going forward this week as he does most other weeks. Put it down to an off week, maybe, and also like Wellington buried their chances as well. And like, if you watch the City game where they got smashed, they were on top of City for like the first half hour, 40 minutes, and then just conceded a quick couple, and then proceeded to just get absolutely smashed. So I think that just the footy gods weren't with us. They never are against Wellington.
I was going to say, I feel like for whatever reason it is, this is a game Wellington lives for. They could be. It's like a true rivalry for them, like in any sport. It doesn't matter how you're going on form. The second you're playing that one rival that you want to beat, you lift for it. It doesn't matter how you've been.
Kelsey, can you scroll down to a couple of questions down and you'll find the answer to why that is?
I can tell you the only game we've ever come close to outplaying them was our 1-1 draw last year in Tassie. Even when we won 1-0, they outplayed us for almost the whole game, and we scraped by with that 1-0 Borussia win over in Welly, which I was very happy for, but geez, we've paid for it ever since. To this day, I'm one of only like 12 Western United fans that have seen us actually win at the ground against Wellington. So I'm actually still pretty happy with that. Caleb and I, only pod members that have seen us beat Wellington in the flesh. So
I feel like that comes up every episode.
It's a stat I hope to end very soon.
Look, so obviously this game wasn't our best. There were some decent moments, and hopefully it puts the fire in the belly to chase the plate, especially with City losing. There's still that aim that we can do it. I believe if we win our remaining games in hand, we'll actually be 1 point above them at this minute, based on how it went. I could be wrong, but I believe that's how it works. So, and then a final note here is, Wallace, you saw a number of Wellington fans referring to the game as whacking day, and despite the result, that tickles just like some Barry White over some speakers.
I knew you were reading this, so I had to I had to write not in my normal voice of how I would speak. So I hope you liked it today. Did you like it?
Yeah, look, I managed to do the starting part in your usual voice, and then I had to change it up because I saw you change how you wrote it.
Yeah, did you like that?
Nice. I enjoyed that. Any final thoughts?
It is pretty cool to see Wellington go undefeated against the two snake clubs this season, Western and Macarthur, that have stolen all their players. So, at least they got the We Beat Western and Macarthur trophy this year. Congrats to them. It's sort of a game you just want to move on from, I suppose. Not too many positives to be taken.
I, for one, want to move on from the game.
Do you want to get into the votes then, Kelsey?
Sure, but you didn't write them down on the run sheet, so I'm going to kind of need you to take over this section.
Oh, don't worry. I'll take care of it, buddy. Sorry, just scrolling. Still scrolling. Okay. So, Kelsey, you gave 3 to Kilkenny, 2 to Lustica, 1 to Wales. Leb gave 3 to Wales, 2 to Lustica, and 1 to Prio. Jay, do you remember yours?
I think it was off the top of my head, 3 to Kilkenny. 2 to Lustica, 1 to Wales.
Correct, same as Kelsey. Now, Scott did one vote today, and that was the only one that was legible in our spreadsheet, which was 3 to Jamie Young. I did 3 to Lustica, 2 to Dylan Wenzel-Halls, and 1 to Wales. Do you guys want to know how the ladder's going currently?
Sure.
Yeah. Give it a crack.
Now, currently leading is Stephen Lustica on 76 points. He had a big week with 8 points coming in. Thankful to Scott's points, Jamie Young is coming second on 75 points, and Leo Lacroix is still coming third on 72. Alexander Prievich is coming fourth on 61, and Joshy Risden is coming fifth on 57. Yeah. Now, normally at this time, and I think I forgot it last week, was I'd like to give a little bit of a shout out to Sportsmate. Now, we recommend checking out A-League Live for all your stats and all that jazz. If you're a big fan about Western United like we are, or any team, check it out. They've got great stats. It's what we argue about in our group chat. It's a good time. Just check it out. Link in the description, or search A-League Live in the Google or Play stores. Google or Apple stores. I don't know. I don't use Apple. Do you guys want to get into the game preview?
Yeah, sure thing.
Yep.
Now, on Saturday, 16th of the 4th, Western United take on Perth Glory for the second time this season, but this time it's personal. And by personal, I mean it's a Woo home game at UTAS Stadium at 5:05. Now, hot off the heels of a crushing 6-1 defeat to the Jets, which is, whoa, the Jets, 6-1. Crossbar Capers will be having the best day ever. Shout out Crossbar Capers. It's been a while, guys. And depending on the result of a Wednesday night game against Wellington, the Glory's gory 13-game losing streak could continue. How do you think the Woo will fare?
I think we've got to bounce back on this game.
Second question, Kelsey. Did you like my alliteration there?
I did. I love alliteration. You know that.
Yep, carry on. Jay, thoughts?
Oh, have to win. Must win. Must win. Like, running, coming into a bunch of away games. Like I usually say how most teams aren't easy wins. This one should be. You know, they've been dealt with pretty well by everyone. Home and away, we beat them pretty convincingly last time we played in at a UTAS only like a couple of months ago, if not a month ago. So, like, yeah, really should be getting a similar scoreline to last time, something like a 3-1. But that's a must win, especially with one win in the last 5, I think, for us, 5 or 6. So we need to get those points rolling again.
Yeah. I think it's really crucial to us getting back into momentum for not only finals but contention for the Premier's Plate. We don't want City to be that far ahead of the pack because they've almost finished their games for the season and are heading into ACL. Lineup expectations, Jay.
I think we get a couple of changes. I think Bayou starts.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he didn't really feature at all last week. Especially, I think he deserves a start after some of the work he's put in. We are going to be travelling. Maybe also give Connor Payne a break. Because, he's been going at it, even Tomoki's been going at it, but, we sort of need Tomoki to fill that right back position now that Brisbane's gone. So, yeah, I think it might be a bit of a chopped together squad. Maybe even Dylan Wenzel-Hall starts, Preo gets a rest. I definitely see Neil Kilkenny starting because we need that playmaker. I don't know about you, Kelsey, but he got my 3 votes because it seemed like almost every creative ball came from him. Every through ball, every good cross came from Kilkenny, so we definitely need him to control the tempo of the game. And then your back 4 and Jamie Young, pretty much the same.
All our best results throughout the year have consistently been when Kilkenny sort of started controlling the ball from that deep, almost from the start of the defensive box or in the early deep midfield section and starts controlling the strings for making our attacks go forward, especially on the counter.
Do you think we could have Lustica in the playmaker role, and then Renee Crin and Lustica in kind of like that more like defensive midfielder kind of deal.
Do you mean Kilkenny and Crin?
Yeah, I know, but like maybe have
So
Kilkenny.
you said Lustica in the attacking and then had him.
Whichever way that works. I don't care.
So I just wanted to know. No, I'm not trying to be a smart ass.
Yeah, because we've had Lockie Wales playing that forward kind of Diamante-esque role, and that, not to negate Lockie Wales, I don't feel that has worked for us in the last 5 games.
Look,
give Renee Crin a break, I reckon, as well. I don't see him starting this next game.
He got a goal on the weekend.
Yeah, but he got subbed early. He gave us nothing going forward, and we need some creativity going forward.
Kilkenny question. In theory, he could be, in a more attacking position, but that screen he does in front of the defence is crucial. Someone would have to do that. That screen is what's, kept us with the most clean sheets. People forget how vital that cog is in it.
You know what I mean? Like, we need that good attacking player. Maybe that is Lustica. Is he a playmaker, though?
Well, Kilkenny's sort of your playmaker. Lustica's more. He's a bit pacier. Lustica. He can play balls. He can pass balls. We definitely know he can shoot. He scored 4 this season. He's had his. Archie Thompson was dead wrong about him. So
actually 5.
5. There you go. So Lustica's great because he's one of those players that can sort of hang on the outside of the box, and then when it sort of bounces out to him, we can have a swing at it as well. So I'd tell you, push Lustica forward as well. So if I could pick 4 attackers to start this game, off the top of my head, if I were to put a team out, it'd be Bayou, Parias, Prijovic, and then Lustica, like a front 4 diamond.
That's what I'm talking about. That kind of diamond character is like we need that person who's got good skill, experience. Doesn't need to be the fastest dude ever, but needs that kind of finesse. You know what I mean, to push that ball forward. And I don't think Lockie Wales is there yet.
Yeah, I think Wales gets a break. That's why I wanted to say. I'd say like bring Parias in for this game, give Wales a break, and then maybe bring Wales on later on, something like that. But look, we are a bit thin on the bench with injuries at the moment. I don't see where the goals are coming from. So odds are, I think we're just going to start with our strongest lineup, which is something similar to what we fielded on the weekend. And I think it's a mental game. We've seen how well we can play. We've just got to bounce back mentally, and I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Sick. Oh yeah, I've got the run sheet. Sorry, Kelsey, I thought you were doing it. Apologies, Scott. Now, here's a question, and I'm going to include Ballarat in the travelling concept here. Do you think travelling is getting to us? So if you look at it, we've got the Ballarat games travelling away from kind of the normal CBD, plus we've got 2 games in Ballarat in Tasmania, and then we've got a further 3 away games, fully away interstate. Do you think this is – because this is what happened last year where we kind of shat the bed in our last 8 games, coming down to injury and going on a bit of a carnival.
Now, the only thing I'll say is I think we've got more points away already this season than we already did for the entirety of last season.
Of course we did, but do we want to regress that again?
Do I think we're starting to struggle a little bit? We're starting to struggle. I don't know if it's travel, if it's just general fatigue, heavier training load. I don't know, but there is something there that's causing a bit of fatigue amongst the squad.
I don't know. We've historically played well at Tassie. I honestly think it's easier to get down to Launceston than it is to Ballarat, probably for some of the players, because you're literally hopping on an hour-long flight, and then some players probably don't live too far from the airport, so it's not really that much more of a travel to Ballarat to Launceston versus Ballarat for some players. I'm not taking the piss here either. It's only 2.5 hours versus 90 minutes for me. If I leave here, get to the airport straight, just in time, everything goes smoothly. I'm in Launceston in just over 2 hours. So I don't think the Launceston trip will be tough. I know we're playing a lot of our away games in New South Wales, And if you remember back towards the end of our first season, we played a lot of games in New South Wales. We actually made finals. We actually made a semi-final, almost made the granny. So I think it's just mental. The team needs to mentally gel like we did in that first season, because obviously everyone was away from homes, away from families, and they all sort of bonded over that. Don't know what the go is in the dressing room now, but hopefully it sort of fixes itself. And or maybe a win is all we need. Maybe a good half is all we need to sort of get the fire under us. We do have Neil back. He's been back for a couple of weeks. I think he's, like I said, the barometer. He keeps the tempo for our games, and he's like the captain without being the captain. Mixture of all those things are playing into it. I think it's obvious. Ultimately, we're the masters of our own destiny when we're on the road. And if we've got to pay for having a lot of home games back to back, where obviously we got that string of wins by having a string of losses now, so be it. But we're in the finals. We've got to get some sort of form going into the finals. It has to happen now.
Yeah. I haven't got anything else to say about the game. Do you want to go into score predictions? Who wants to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. 3-1, Western.
I'm going to say 1-0, Western.
I'll take that too.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That lock it. We probably focus on our defense and lock her, get one in early, pack her up. I'm going to go 2-1 just to be kind of in a middle ground there between all the things. I think we might concede because I don't think we're with Imai in the right back. I feel like we're a bit shaky. But, going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I just think Eloise is going to want them to get back to their bread and butter this week. Just a funny feeling. I think he sees this as the opportunity against a team that's not going great to really just focus on the fundamentals he wants that squad to have. That's why I said 1-0.
Any final comments?
Keen to get down there with a few of the boys, have a fun long weekend. I don't know if anyone listens in Tassie, but if you do, I'm sure we'll be at the park, which is across the road from UTAS beforehand, having a couple of beers, maybe even sneak in to see if we can get into the women's game, which is on, I think it starts at 2 p.m. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff. There's a Calder game or a Western United women's game on in Tassie, but I know my flight comes in at 2 p.m. So I'll maybe make the tail end of that game, but keen to get down there and have some fun in Launceston. It is always a good trip. Cannot recommend it highly enough.
Wicked. I'm just going to say, Tassie, keep your beer fridges packed at your pubs and your kegs full because service crew's coming. Now,
definitely keep a few. I think it's the James Bogues breads, which they only have on tap in Launceston, and they rock.
If they have bottles, bring us back one, man. I'll give you the cash.
See what I can do.
I'm interested. I have mixed experiences with Bogues. I won't get into it now because it's a long, lengthy story. But let's move on to the tipping comp. Currently coming first still and has been quite consistent this season, probably the MVP of this, Methodical Flamethrower. Sick name, sick tips. Coming second is Sherlock Machine, the unofficial sixth member of the pod, does some of our social media. You can't win the prize, Nick. Coming third, tied for second, really, Woodster 99. Trax coming fourth. Jeff FFS is coming fifth. I'm coming sixth, and I'm coming for that fifth place, Jeff. And Harris Mania seventh. Lebby eighth. Kelsey, we know you didn't jump in this year. And DeJoker Baby.
I haven't had a tip wrong all year.
I know. And Scott's coming tied 22nd. Now, I got something a little bit different here, and we've been kind of not doing a lot of around the grounds because there's a lot of other media that does around the grounds nowadays. But there's something I really want to talk to today about, and that is the fact that Disney Plus is working on a Matildas documentary leading into the World Cup. Is this something that Paramount Plus should have covered, or was this good for the FFA to organise? They obviously would have maybe gone to tender or whatever, or maybe Disney Plus was just interested in making this. I'm not sure of the situation there, but is it good that Australian football has been represented on a global stage and one of the biggest streaming platforms? Kelsey.
So, look, any exposure, doesn't matter who it is good exposure. You know, Disney Plus has more of a reach than Paramount Plus. So from that perspective, I would say it's a good thing. But I agree, like, it probably is a missed opportunity for Paramount Plus to have jumped on that and shown their support behind the Australian game and the women's game at large for that as well. But, yeah, again, like, great exposure and probably really good in the lead up to Women's World Cup too to help boost sales. The event should sell itself, but it should also help with that as well.
Yeah, Matilda's players are known all around the world, and I think Disney Plus is got more of a global uniform platform. Like, obviously Paramount Plus is different in Australia than it is in the US. So yeah, it's one of the, if not the biggest. You know, it's right up there with Netflix now, right up there with Amazon Prime is Disney Plus. It's actually one of the only ones I still have. I've gone through and deleted them all. The only two I've got left three. I've got Paramount, Binge, and Disney Plus, and the only reason I've got two of them is because I got one with the membership and one I keep getting for free for some reason. So yeah,
send me a login.
No, I watch The Sopranos too much, and I only get one person for that, and then I also watch The Simpsons too much on Disney, so no one gets.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah.
I'm assuming the early seasons of The Simpsons.
Particularly start of season 3 through end of season 9.
Okay, that's fine. Keep repeating that.
And season 9 is still, for me, a bit of a stretch. I'm a purist.
To be honest, I watch it with my daughter because you got to find common ground with children. And she's too young for Family Guy or Bob's Burgers or anything like good. And I'm up to season 33 at the moment, whatever the frick is coming out now. And it's actually better than probably 18 through 25 was pretty shit. But like 25 through 33 isn't bad, but it should have ended a long time ago.
It should be gone. And hey, I've seen new episodes of The Simpsons, and it's like still entertaining, but it's like magic when they had all the Conan and all that still writing for him. It's just gone. And the animation, it's too clean now. The animation looks too good.
Old Yeller, the dog was great and everything, but just take it behind the woodshed and do what needs to be done.
I agree completely. That's all I have for Around the Grounds. You guys have anything for Australian football?
No, international football's hotting up though. If you're a Premier League fan, there was a 2-2 draw between Liverpool and Man City this morning. So there's still a point in between both teams who are both clear top. I mean, it's going to go down to the wire this season. Get around that one. If obviously, most people that do watch the A-League also watch the Premier League, but if you're one of the fans that's just getting into the sport and started domestic before branching off international, man, watch any Man City or any Liverpool game you can, because they are just action-packed. And the Championship, the English Championship, the league below the Premier League is getting spicy as well. So there's good football all around at the moment.
Oh, great. Did anyone see the Wanderers versus Raw game on the weekend where the keeper got red carded for tackling the dude?
Yeah, I've seen a few good rugby tackles this weekend at rugby stadiums where there was no rugby being played. First we had that one, then we had the streaker get taken out. It was all going on down over in actually no, that wasn't New South Wales, that was Queensland. But
that was a rugby game.
That was at a rugby game, but yeah, man, that was just one of the weirdest brain fades I think I've ever seen. He's just completely stuffed it up. And then even if it was AFL, that would have been tripping. So, it's not just a foul. He's fouled across multiple codes there. I don't know how he's done that. But, man.
The only way that could have been like a more egregious foul is if he set up a pulley system and had a net or something.
Yeah, or he sprinkled leaves on the ground and the striker fell into a pit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like something more elaborate and ridiculous.
Yeah. It was pretty, yeah. Peak A-League, though. You love to see it.
Yeah. Shout out Peak A-League podcast. Any cards for this week, guys?
No, not off the top of my head.
No, I can't think of any.
No, that's okay. We might end it there. Now, before we go, if you can, head to Tassie, get in there, support the boys. If not, do it at home. There might be something, or it's the Easter weekend, so I'm not sure if the local supporters will be going to Sporting Globe, but check out the We Are Woo FC supporters group for any updates of local viewings. Next week's going to be our 100th episode. We started in February 2019. It's been a long time coming, so we're hoping for a bit of a special episode. I'm hoping to have every original member back on, so I'm hoping to have Scott, Kelsey. We're going to have a bit of a segment. It's going to be a bit different. We're going to be talking to Chris P. or Pelavanis. He's going to be back on. We're going to talk about how the club's developed in the 3 years. It's going to be I'm going to go for a bit of a different format for this episode, so it's going to be really good and kind of reminisce a bit about how far the club's progressed, not only as a club but as a community of football fans. So that's going to be really interesting. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we go?
No, just if you can get down to Tassie, because it's always fun getting down there. And we've got a bunch of away games coming up, so who knows? We might have to look at maybe getting a few more people in a centralised area to watch one of those away games. Sporting Globe's usually the way it works, but let's get down there and show our support any way we can. We're at the arse end of the season now. We are going to be playing at more home games, though. You'd expect in the finals series, so don't book any holidays to Bali in I think June or May. So because we're definitely going to be in the finals.
100%. Kelsey, anything?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Let's rock this out with don't forget to like, subscribe, share, review, all that jazz. Send us a message, and all West aren't we?
All West aren't we?
All West aren't we?